You're listening to Fight That Extra on talkSPORT 2 with me, Gareth A, and the one and only former world champion, Barry Jones. So, to go through the rest of the card, Barry, Dimitri Bivol, again, a clinical... I went to row 3 for this, in the VIP seats, and watched Bivol round after round. He's so focused. He's so amazing. He's so efficient. Great victory over Malik Zinad. He broke him down and stopped him. You know, I picked Beterbiev, Artur Beterbiev, to beat Dimitri Bivol, to attack him and maybe even stop him. But you know what? Watching Bivol up close this time, I just think he may well use his rapiers, his fists to outbox Beterbiev. I've swung back towards Bivol, but what a performance again by him. And the focus that he had, what could have been a problem with a late opponent who was undefeated.
I gotta laugh because boxing people sway back and forth more than any other sport. I feel they always, like, all week I had people telling me, "Oh, I fancy Shiraz, or Austin Williams, or I don't do that. I mean, I pick a winner in any fight, and I stick to it, even if inside I'm going, I think I got this wrong though.
Yeah.
So I picked Bivol early, and I'm not confident about that. I'm not confident about it now, because Beterbiev, in the whole scheme of things, has to be rated higher than Bivol, body of work and everything else. But I just think I fancy Bivol. I think this fight would end him. I think Beterbiev will watch this fight and go, "Yeah, I don't know. He's hit the ball early." But, do you know what I mean? I think so. I think they are going full of confidence, but yeah, once he gets his flow, Bivol, he's fantastic. He really is. And Zinad, that was a great fight for him in the end, because he showed loads of guts. He got off the floor. He made it quite awkward for Bivol, and also he'll get loads of work from this now. I think his stock would have grown in defeat because he lost to a fantastic fighter. Bivol's judgment and distance is great. And what happened in that, once they did the headbutts the round before, little clash, little nod of the head, which was instigated by Zinad, Bivol was angry. But he doesn't show his anger, but he showed his anger by upping his volume of work. So I think it's important now. We need to get Bivol angry before the fight. That's what we see. It's true, isn't it? Because he doesn't lose his shape. He still doesn't lose his temperament, but he just gets busier. And in the next round, he was much busier, found the punches to get the finish. So yeah, I think, he's a systematic fighter, Bivol. He doesn't care about the crowd, doesn't care about knocking people out. He just cares about winning the fight. So he systematically goes through what he knows what to do until he sees the opportunity. And if it's not there, he won't take it. Like Alexander Usyk, they're the same. You listen to him after the second Joshua fight, people said to Alexander Usyk, "Did you think the stoppage was there?" And he said, "Maybe, but I wasn't looking for that. I was looking to win the fight." And Bivol's got the same ilk. But they can be more exciting. And I think it's getting him angry is the secret. So if I was in his corner after 4 rounds, I'd stick a pin up his bum or whatever. I'd pinch him in the back of his arm. I'd make him angry and get him out there because he doesn't lose his shape. And that's the beauty of it.
But that augurs well for the fight with Beterbiev as well. But obviously, the fight, as I say, he carried himself brilliantly all week, laser focused, ditto in the ring. I love what you're saying about that, about him getting angry. Because he's going to get angry when Beterbiev throws those 6-7 punch combinations. That's rebooked for October the 12th, by the way, the opening of the Riyadh season, we understand. And I'm not just saying this, but His Excellency has already said that privately to a few people, and I think I can say this, that card is going to be stacked. You can just imagine, Barry, can't you, what they're going to put on that card, what comes out from the card in Los Angeles in August, the other fighters they're going to sign. It wouldn't surprise me to see a Tank Davis or a Ryan Garcia, a Devin Haney, a Vasyl Lomachenko, a Naoya Inoue on those kind of cards, because they are seriously stacked at the moment. Can I just ask you about the other 3 fights? Hamza Shiraz, the other 3 winners. Hamza Shiraz, Willy Hutchinson and Nick Ball, all Queensberry fighters, of course. Hamza first. He called out Chris Eubank after. My understanding is after beating Ammo Williams, my understanding is that there are talks around the table to have Eubank versus Shiraz at Wembley in September. I love that fight because it's a real promotional draw for Hamza Shiraz, who isn't a mainstream name yet, but it's a great fight to have. I thought he was very impressive against Amo Williams, and the first time we've really seen him hurt as he was in the second round.
Yeah, I picked it for the knockout. I got to be honest, I did. I thought, because I just knew that both fighters would commit. Certainly Williams. I knew Aston Williams would commit, but the composure that he has, Hamza Shiraz, is world class.
Yeah.
I called him in commentary. I called him a praying mantis. His arms are so long, aren't they? You know what I mean? Yeah, and he had that left arm out. It was right out the way for him, and I'm not a fan of that. But what it did, it just messed with the range of Williams. It meant Williams had to jump in from too far out. And Shiraz, and when he did get close, Shiraz covers up, doesn't give you anything, doesn't panic inside. Even when he got hurt, he didn't panic. He just took a step back, covered up, lay you way away with his arms, blocks him on his arms and his gloves, then he goes to work. But with him, he doesn't box the same, but he reminds me of Mark Chamberlain, where they find the perfect range and distance for every shot, so they get perfect balance, so they're purchasing every punch they throw.
And that uppercut that he throws as well is fantastic.
Yeah, whether he throws it long or short,
yeah,
gets full leverage on the shot.
Yeah,
that takes a tremendous balance. That does your feet have to be in the perfect place all the time. And also, this was a really good fight. But you got two guys that really on the rise at the same level at the same time. So this was another difficult fight for him to get through mentally. So he couldn't take any chances. But his composure under any situation sets him apart. And he works that jab really well. Though he's a man who has massive long reach and a massive height, which can not always a good thing being the tallest, because he had a big target to hit. But he uses it so well. He knows where he is all the time. And also, there's no telling his punches. He turns from the hip and the shoulder. There's no arm in his punch, and that gives you can't read what he's trying to do. It was a stellar standout performance from Hamza Shiraz.
What I like about him is he's uncomplicated as well. He's uncomplicated as a person. He's uncomplicated in the way he fights. Everything's clean. I love the call out of Chris Eubank. I hope they get to make that fight. Do you agree with me that to have, because he's a quiet guy, Hamza, very very religious, Islamic. He's a Muslim. He doesn't trash talk. The foil of having Chris Eubank to create a bigger name for himself, rather than fighting for a world title right now, which he's fully capable of, is the right way for him to go right now, to become a name again, and to fill the stadium at Wembley with another fight like this, potentially as a co-main event or a chief support at Wembley. I think it's the perfect matchup right now.
I do, because Chris Eubank's still a good fighter. Maybe not the force he once was, but he's still a good fight, coming off a good win against Liam Smith, of course. I would say that was the worst I've seen Liam Smith, but still, you only beat what's in front of you. And he's a huge draw. That name elevates everything. It really does. And he plays his part as well. So it's the perfect fight for him to elevate his status, I would say that. And it's financially a bigger fight for him. The Carlos Adames fight, which is for a world title, which is a winnable world title fight. It's difficult, but a winnable world title fight. Because that's another guy who was a former super welterweight who moves up to middleweight. Though big at the weight, because Shiraz is bigger probably. That's a fight for a world title. You'd want to take that fight. But how can you turn down a Eubank fight, which is financially big, and make you a bigger name globally, and certainly in the UK, it possibly makes you a pay-per-view star all of a sudden, makes you a headliner. Then you get the world title fight. So I think it's the right call at the right time for Shiraz. But I think he's got the world at his feet. I really does. I really do. Sorry. And I think he's a potential star in the making. And he's not a big talker. His fist to the talking, of course. But he has a good look about him. He's a good-looking kid. He has a wholesome reputation and attitude and persona. And I'm not just his culture. I think everyone will get on board.
Yeah.
I think everyone will get on board, and I think he will be a huge ticket seller.
But he's also done what Amir Khan did. He's embracing the Pakistani community, but he's embracing Pakistan itself as well, because Amir got massive support from Pakistan, from India and those places. It's a great way of marketing yourself. Let's go on to Willy Hutchinson, who defeated Craig Richards. I picked Willy Hutchinson to win. I've always rated him as a boxer. The subterfuge here, of course, is that Anthony Yard has left Frank Warren's stable and is claiming he's out of contract, but Queensberry is saying he's still in contract. We won't go into that. We'll leave the lawyers deal with that. But the WBO have ordered a fight now between Hutchinson and Joshua Buatsi with the under the WBO, of course. And there's this dispute going on with Frank Warren and Anthony Yard. The Hutchinson performance, first of all, there's another young fighter that learnt a lot, but showed a great deal in his skills. I'm not sure who you picked in this one. My instinct, like you were talking about, I picked Hutchinson from a long way out. I just felt that Craig, who's very solid and long, doesn't. I'm not criticizing him, but he's got certain gears. And I just thought if Hutchinson boxed very well, he'd be able to defeat him on points.
Yeah, I went the other way, actually, mate. I just thought Hutchinson has more natural talent and more variety to his work. But at what level? That was what it was. And though Richards, and it's always dangerous to judge a fighter on his defeats, but we're judging him, even though he's had better wins, I think, as well. But I mean, but his defeats is where he's performed maybe better. And I just thought his experience at some point, when the fight got past 6, 7 rounds, 8 rounds, the way he punches long, especially with that long right hand, would just start to find the target against Hutchinson, and he would either stop Hutchinson or start pulling away on the scorecards. But I thought Hutchinson had a chance. But I thought this was the fight where there was a clear favourite. I thought Richards was that. Out of all the fights, I thought this one had the clearest of favourites in the 5v5, not the one with Bivol.
Yeah.
And this was meant to be a technical affair, and the first fight of the night, and it was a brilliant fight. I mean,
it was.
It was like, and he just boxed perfect. Hutchinson. He made Richards look an old man. Richards was inactive, and that might have played the part. He didn't throw the right hand a lot. I thought maybe he got a problem with his right hand. But I just think, looking back, the movement of Hutchinson, the way he was dipping his shoulder through that uppercut through the middle, spinning around the target, changing direction with his feet, pushing you back, then making you walk onto shots. He did a little bit of everything, I thought, on Saturday night. And I think he was growing as a fighter every round. And even those later rounds when he tired, he showed grit. As he showed in the Lennox Clark when he got beat, he showed... Yeah. We forget that. We just remember he got beat. But he got up, he showed lots of grit. And I think he showed it there. He had to dig deep a little bit just to get through that tired little stage in the later stages. And he grew. I think you talk about people coming of age fights. And that was it for Willy Hutchinson. Now, all of a sudden, he's gone from a guy who maybe should be looking at the British title, that's the truth of it, and building towards the British title, by the way. They all go to WBO, WBA, IBF, WBC international routes. But you get a world rating you don't really deserve. That's the truth of it. We all play that game, but that's the truth of it. But you haven't beat fighters to get you to that level, but you just play the international game, their belts. So you think the British title route would have been the sensible route to garnish that reputation and that experience. But he got it in one fight. He made the man look old. Maybe he is, but he did that. And I thought he was absolutely fantastic. And maybe not the fight of the night, but in terms of who he was up against and where he'd been before, possibly the performance of the night.
Do we think he's ready for a Joshua Buatsi, or does he have to go there now, or should he be fighting, say, a Dan Aziz, or do we throw him in the deep end?
Yes, I think no. I think he goes in an underdog. He goes in an underdog against Joshua Buatsi. That's the truth, and he does. But you have to know. He'd just be Craig Richards. You would put Craig. You would say to Craig Richards, if Craig Richards and Buatsi was made again too, you would say before that's a competitive fight.
Yeah,
the first one. So if you put, even though Buatsi's the favourite, so you would.
Tougher fight, Buatsi. Tougher fight.
What's that?
Tougher fight. Much tougher fight.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a hard, but I think Buatsi's a massive favourite and he should do a job, I feel. But I think Hutchinson coming off that win will grow in confidence now massively. Though, did he need any more confidence all week? He was talking like he was already the champion in waiting, and we'd love to see that from our prospects. But he's gone past that prospect stage now. He's gone from prospect to contender. And ideally, we'd like him to go maybe a Dan Aziz, which is still a hard fight, or another route. But you take what you're given, I think, in this sport. And I think you roll the dice. And I think if he gets the opportunity to fight for a world title, and it is Joshua Buatsi, you got to take it. You have to take it.
We've been talking about great performances, and arguably the greatest performance of the night came from the wrecking ball himself, Nick Ball. I'd pick Ray Ford to win this, to catch him coming in. But the hustling temperament and the tempo, the pace that Nick Ball set for this fight won him. I had him 115, 113. Obviously, it was split. It was a close fight. Ray Ford came back into it later on, was catching Nick Ball. I spoke to him, as you probably did, like 10 minutes after the bout. And he said, I could go another 15 right now. He said, I want to be on the September card. Man, you have to admire that he's a giant of a man in so many ways, isn't he, Nick Ball? Just a giant of a human being in his spirit, Barry.
Yeah, it was a great fight. It was absolutely fantastic. And you know where you got to get with Ball. If you have the energy to match him or try and match him, then we're going to see a fantastic fight. He started faster this time. Actually, that's wrong. He didn't start fast. He had less problems this time than he did in the fight against Vargas, because Vargas is like a 7'2" featherweight.
Okay, so he's actually 6 foot tall, but yeah,
he's massive.
He's 7
But compared to the featherweights, you might as well be 7 foot. But and Ford was fighting the wrong fight. He was holding his feet, trying to show that he had some physical strength, which he does, and he could tough it out, which he can. But I think that just helped Ball establish a really early lead. So it could have been 5-1 after 6 rounds. But then Ford started to get a bit of rhythm to his work. I thought started to get on the balls of his feet, started to use that brilliant jab he had, and he clawed it right back at the end and made it a really tight fight. But Ball's just relentless. What you're going to get with Ball is no give in his engine. There's no give. There's no break in his engine. He's on you. Whether he's making mistakes or whatever, it's irrelevant. He's continuing to throw punches. Even when he gets hurt, he continuously throws punches. And he did get hurt a few times, but he knows how to ride through it. And it's very, very difficult to beat. But you have to get your fight management perfect with Nick Ball. So you have to be light on your feet in the early rounds and make him miss as much as you can. Then in those later rounds, you're going to have to hold your feet. And you're gonna and hoping that his engine is not going to slow, just might take but a little bit, that you can just maybe get a combination off now and again.
You were around that weight of it. When you watch Ball, do you think, that would have been a terror to fight?
Even the touch me made it.
There you go.
Jabbing me on it said, no, I left
you.
It would have been a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. It would have been, but I think you've got you think you've got to have enough weight in your punches to stop. You either got to have enough weight in your punches to stop him in his track,
which is what I thought Ford was going to do.
I thought Ford was going to stab him with the jab a little bit more, or you got to use the semicircle around the body. So you got to pivot all the time, which is something I could do actually. I think he would have caught up with me in the end. But that's what.
No, he wouldn't have, Barry. No, he wouldn't have.
You got to keep, just in case he listens to this. You know what I mean? I would say on Nick Ball. Obviously I did the TV broadcast, but all week I was there all week, and I was looking up the Giants. My neck, I had a crick in my neck. Nick Ball, he may be the only boxer I've ever known shorter than me. I mean, he's twice as wide as me, but he's shorter than me, and I never. For the first time in a long time, I was looking down at somebody, which was fantastic. But looking down at him in height, but in stature, in ability, and in the way he fights, the ferociousness. And there's no play in that kid, by the way.
No.
Even his personality, there's no play in him.
No, that's right.
I mean, you talk to him and you think, make sure he might only be 5'3" or 5'4", but you think, I better choose my words very,
he's very serious, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and I love that, because that's what
I do.
Why should he be all this lovely, lovely man?
He's a gentleman as well, though. I thought
he's respectful,
very much a gentleman. Yeah.
He's respectful, but he got that look. You say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I like that, and he fights with that sort of vigor. So, and it was a close fight, but after the draw in his last world title challenge,
which was a disgrace, frankly.
Yeah, it was an easy fight to call. It was an easy fight to score. It was six
rounds, 2 knockdowns. Tim, how can you make that draw?
So. He won a close fight here, and he deserved it, and I'm happy for him.
There's Espinosa and Lopez, the other 2 champions, and Ray Vargas, and Vargas. They could do the rematch, but get this: I think the Vargas rematch is there at Wembley if they want it. They could make it at Wembley. Here's the one. Get this: I've been dreaming His Excellency has been talking about getting Naoya Inoue to come over and fight. Bring Naoya Inoue up to a 5th weight division to face Nick Ball. Tell me you're not salivating hearing that.
I said, just to see Inoue live is enough.
Against Nick Ball. Come on. How brilliant would that be?
I missed it. When Inoue boxed in Glasgow, I missed him. I was working on
2 rounds of joy.
And I was gutted. But to see him and Nick Ball, to see Inoue in Britain again would be amazing. To see him against Nick Ball would just be an absolute joy of a fight.
And you're going to pick, because if Nick does listen to this, you're going to have to say now what would happen. I would pick Naoya Inoue to win that.
No, so would I. I would never. I mean, at some point the weight's going to catch up with Inoue. But when I think the featherweight's within his reach, I do, and I just he's an all-time great anyway. So there's no shame in losing to him.
Have I just come up with a fight that?
I mean, it's a great fight. It's a great fight.
Have you thought about it before this?
To be honest, I haven't. I want to say I had, but no, I haven't. And I know that I can see the glee in your face now. Like, yeah,
but I cannot almost. I can't wait to see those two in the ring together. Listen, I haven't heard they are thinking about putting that fight together. But after Saturday night, the way that Nick Ball is, the way that Naoya Inoue is, because he's going to fight him and a 5th weight division. I just think it gets those extra 40,000 seats at Wembley. Opens the Riyadh season with Beterbiev and Bivol.
Yeah, I think so. All we know about Nick Ball is now the options that he have to what he had 2 fights ago, night and day.
Yeah,
everyone wants to fight him now because of the backing he has. Him and Lopez. Forget about Inoue for a minute. Just the people in his weight division. Him and Lopez is a great fight because Lopez can bang. He's awkward. He's erratic with his punches. That's just a great fight. Espinosa's a great fight, but he's a big guy. Brandon Figueroa, who's meant to be boxing Vargas, I think that they're on about that fight going on again. That's a really great fight. But yes, the world's his oyster, as they say, and he deserves it. He's a kid who works hard, is always fit. He was on the weight all week. He looked the healthiest fighter out of everyone last week. He looked like he was on the weight and healthy with it on Tuesday. It was unbelievable. So he's a true professional, and he's shown with ability, but with hard work and living like a pro and being dedicated. Look what you can achieve.